They were engaged. He always carried a Bible with him. My whole family thought he was a good, respectable man. After their wedding, they moved to California for Arthur to continue his education. At the time, Arthur was 24 and pursuing a master's degree, while Colette, at 29, became the primary financial provider, working in a research laboratory. She didn't hesitate to take on 2 jobs at once to support her husband's academic dreams. Before long, they welcomed 2 daughters, Naomi in 1989 and Gabrielle in 1991. Arthur seemed like the perfect husband, loving, devoted to his family. When he completed his master's degree, Colette encouraged him to go even further, and eventually, Arthur earned a PhD in software engineering. Their life seemed to be reaching the pinnacle of success when Arthur landed a job at the University of Texas. But then, at the age of 40, as their daughters were growing up, Colette started thinking about her own career. She enrolled in a nursing program, hoping to rediscover herself. Yet before that dream could take shape, a dark turning point struck. A sudden loss of faith, inexplicable changes. Everything would soon spiral into a storm of crisis that no one could have foreseen. The early years in Arlington, the Reyes family seemed to be enjoying a stable life. But then the change began not from Colette, but from Arthur. The man who had spent his youth pursuing education, after many years of self-study, came to a conclusion that turned everything upside down. God was just a joke. This realization transformed Arthur into a completely different person. With the enthusiasm of a newly converted skeptic, he openly mocked faith, especially his wife's beliefs. Colette, who had lived her whole life devoted to religion, could not accept the reality that her husband, after 15 years of marriage, had turned his back on all the values she cherished. But the worst part was not just Arthur's change in belief, but the way he continuously tried to force Colette to abandon her religion. At the same time, the distance between Colette and her daughters grew larger. She imposed strict rules, just like her mother had done in Haiti. But to Naomi and Gabrielle, those rules were too outdated, too harsh. Especially Naomi, she couldn't stand her mother's conservative upbringing. Family tension reached its peak when Arthur made an unthinkable move. When Naomi had just turned 17, he moved her out of the house and rented an apartment for her completely against Colette's wishes. Their marriage, once an American dream, had now become a battlefield. Arthur and Colette argued